90% of your athletic success is determined by mindset. And here's a little secret. That is established at a very young age. So those athletes that are 13, 14, 15, and beyond who have a strong mindset to the game, any game they play, develop that mindset from a very young age. Here's what it comes down to. Having the proper mindset allows you to execute effectively, be consistent, be disciplined, essentially deal with adversity in a very effective manner, and ultimately translate all of that into winning and being a winner. Now let's take a step back here. At a young age, when you start getting involved with sports, the key is, the first and foremost, is just have fun. You want to have fun, but once you start getting older, right, the level of competitiveness rises. And then how involved you are and how much you're being pushed by your parents factors into this. So there are certain fundamental aspects of developing that mindset at that age where you can start incorporating, layering on certain levels of discipline, accountability, consistency, hard work, teaming, being unselfish, having respect for your coaches, all these things, little bits and pieces that you can start taking as you start getting older and progressing in your athletic careers. So it all starts at a very young age. I mean, you can't walk into high school at 14 or 13 years old and be a certain way and think that you're always going to get away with it. For example, I have personally experienced over the past few years, I've been a strength coach for a football team, and I've been very close to the players. I've developed some good relationships, and I've seen firsthand from this experience that, the players that have the strong mindset, I mean, they have that foundation established, and the ones that don't have no foundation. So when you try to speak to players that have no foundation, it's kind of like a Band-Aid approach. So it's like a temporary, like reactive type thing where you explain to them, you got to execute, you got to be disciplined, you got to be accountable, you got to put in the work, etc. And they react and they say the right things in the moment, but it basically goes in one ear out the other. They don't really, it doesn't retain, right? They don't comprehend the overall objective of mindset. And the players that have, which are very few, have a strong mindset, actually execute. They understand, when something isn't followed through correctly, the impact it has not only on their performance, but the team and the outcome. So these are the types of things that I'm trying to relay to all of you about mindset. It starts at a very young age, and you need to layer on a baseline foundation as you get older and you progress. So I'm going to go flip it over here to 3 professional examples just because I want you guys to really understand where I'm going with this. So recently in the NFL, there is a starting quarterback for the New York Jets named Zach Wilson. And he played very poorly, had negative yards, in the Jets lost, and the offense was just terrible and bad performance. He showed up post-game conference and he was asked, how do you feel about your performance? Do you feel like you let the defense down? Because apparently the defense was out on the field for most of the game because the offense couldn't really move the ball and do anything. And his immediate response was no. And you can tell from his facial expression and his reaction and his mannerisms and body language was that he got defensive. And he had an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to take some ownership for his performance, take some accountability, be a leader as a quarterback of the team, but he didn't. He chose to be defensive, make an excuse, and say simply no. Well, I'll tell you that backfired on him. I mean, his teammates were very upset. Coaching staff was upset. About 24 to 72 hours after that post-game conference, he was demoted the following week, lost his starting job, and his backup came in and performed very well, and they won the game. And it seems like he's now going to be riding the bench. And literally, just by that decision he made, in those couple seconds, the impact that having a weak versus a strong mindset, what it can do to you in your career. I mean, this guy got to a professional level, was a starting quarterback. He went through it all, through high school, grade school, college, etc. He was drafted high. I think he was a top 3 or top 5 pick. But that one decision he made because of a weak mindset lost his job. And who knows if he's going to regain it? Who knows what's going to happen in the offseason? But my point is, those are perfect examples of Zach Wilson did not have a strong foundation growing up in regards to having a strong mindset, having proper discipline, having accountability. I mean, he wasn't taught like simple, basic, fundamental things. And these are the types of things I'm trying to highlight and bring awareness to for all you young athletes specifically, because these are so critical pieces to your development. You start developing these fundamentals and you start understanding them and embracing them as you get technically stronger, as you grow and you actually get physically stronger and you get better at what you do in whatever sport you're playing. Now you layer on these fundamental items about mindset. I mean, you're just going to completely separate yourself from the rest. You still got to put in all the work, but it all, like I said in my last video, it all starts up here. It starts and ends with your mind. You know, it's 90%. You know, I'll give you another example, you know, in the NBA, another professional, you know, Ben Simmons. Over the past few years, he was drafted high, came out of LSU. You know, he was drafted out of, I believe, Philadelphia 76ers, and he's had issues with the mental health. And he, you know, and again, this is not a knock on his mindset, but what I'm trying to highlight, the power of the mind in sports. You know, he has not been mentally up there, and he's been mentally checked out of games, which immediately have a direct impact on his performance. Again, it's just having those fundamentals, having that confidence, having that mindset. It all is all a buildup from when you're young. This didn't just happen to Ben Simmons from overnight. You know, this has been a slow progression that led him to this point. So now he has to dig into the root cause of what happened and try to fix it. But in the process, it's derailing his professional career. Because again, he did not have the proper baseline foundation fundamentals. So it's just another example to all of you. You want to focus on the technicality of the sport. You want to get stronger. You want to get faster. You want to get more efficient, more precise in your craft and in whatever position sport you're playing. And absolutely, that's the obvious. But what is missed in a lot of cases, I would even say 90% of the time, is the players that develop and grow and progress. I mean, when they rely on talent alone, you know, the elite players end up getting to the professional ranks, which is the minority, but there are some that get there. So I'm not going to say that you won't get there. But again, it's what I mentioned on my last video, which I'll reiterate again right now, is you don't want to just get there. You want to stay there. So you want to have the qualities, the skill set, both technically and from a soft skill standpoint, the foundation to be able to sustain everything that comes your way, whether it's at practice, in the in-game, off-season, at post-game conference, you know, communicating with your coaches, your teammates, all of that. You want to be able to properly conduct yourself and know what is right versus wrong, to make sure that you always are locked in up here to keep moving forward. You always want to keep moving forward in the right way. All right. I think that kind of wraps up the topic of mindset for this video. Remember, 90% of your athletic success comes down to having the proper mindset. That's how much of an impact the mind has in sports. Be locked in, have your head on, you know, remember, it's all about developing a good, strong foundation and then layering on and building up from that. I mean, I can go on and on. This topic is so important. I'm very passionate about it. You know, I may touch on it again in the near future and later onto this video about mindset, but thank you for hanging in there with me. I got the next video is going to be around nutrition, followed by strength or weight training and developing, you know, that piece to kind of bring the whole athlete together into one good, strong, you know, fundamentally sound, balanced athlete that, you know, we want to make sure that you turn into and you develop into. So stay tuned for more. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Remember, any comments that you have, any questions, you know, go ahead and post them down below. You can also go to hyttraining.com. There is a book now button at the top right. You can submit a contact form with any questions, comments, anything like that. I'd be even happy to have a consult with any one of you if there's anything I can do to help or discuss further on any of the topics being addressed. Again, appreciate you all so much. Be sure to subscribe and like and stay tuned for more. Have a good one.